young couple gets fed up with modern society, the soulless corporate rat race, the ridiculous student loan debts, and so they make a one-time investment, a sailboat, and they proceed to live at sea forever. A young woman finds her life purpose in the art of making amazing domino masterpieces and then toppling them. Despite relentless, stupid societal pressure to give up her dreams and get a quote-unquote real job, she holds her ground and refuses to become a corporate slave, and today makes a full-time living off of her passions. And finally, a trend known as reverse freelancing emerges. You've all undoubtedly heard by now about employers and corporations replacing you and taking your jobs with AI. Well, what if you were to instead beat them to the punch and give them a taste of their own medicine? What if you replaced them with AI before they could replace you? This is what reverse freelancing is all about, and it's pretty much something anyone could do. Gen Z never wanted to work to begin with. They never wanted these soulless 9-to-5 jobs where you just get exploited for corporate profits all day. They never wanted these ridiculous student loan debts that make you a slave to the system forever. Delusional boomers who want to maintain the broken status quo call them lazy and entitled. But I, as their millennial defense lawyer, think they're absolutely right to refuse to play this BS rigged stupid game. And it's been my mission on this channel to defend them. However, something very disturbing happened recently, which made me realize that the stakes just got even higher now than ever before. A recent report came out that this year's college graduates are entering the worst job market ever, as the AI revolution is happening way faster than anyone expected, and it has already taken around 14% of all jobs. This is significant because, as we all know, the job market was already total dog shit even before AI, and this just makes it even more impossible to get a job than it already was. Escaping the 9-to-5 is no longer just a luxury at this point. At this point, it's an absolute necessity. There just won't be enough jobs for everyone anymore, and we'll have to figure out a way to survive without them. And that's what this video series is all about. We're going to be taking a look around at the most interesting, unique, and incredible ways young people all around the world are checking out of the BS corporate rat race and living life on their own terms. Let's get this show on the road. So in our last video, we covered the journey of the unemployment god of the land, Eric Grankvist. This young man ventured straight out into the wilderness at just 18 years old and learned to live off the land in the most literal sense, hunting and foraging his own food, and most impressively, building this incredible log cabin you see here. Now, a lot of you in that video brought up in the comments the fact that this could be a problem because all land is technically owned by the government and they could force you back into society at any moment. This is true. But when it comes to enforcement, however, that's where things get a little flexible, let's call it. Now, obviously, you don't want to set up your log cabin in a national park or a UNESCO heritage site. You're definitely going to run into problems if you do that. But there are wide swaths of forgotten land so deep in the wilderness that so long as you don't cause any problems, it's very unlikely law enforcement will come knocking on your door, forcing you back into society. This is presumably what Eric does. But this does still bring up a very valid point. All land is technically owned already, either by somebody else or by the government. So you're never completely quite checked out of society that way. And I guess that just means we're still ultimately stuck being forced to participate in this BS rigged 9-to-5 rat race, right? Wait, all land is technically owned. The key word in that sentence being land. And as we all learned in grade school geography class, only 30% of the Earth's surface is land. What happens when we venture out into the other 70% of the Earth, the sea? Well, this is where a whole new world opens up with a whole different set of rules. This is Ben and Kika, a young couple who run the YouTube channel Sailing Uma, which is also the name of their boat. They met in college 10 years ago where, like many of you, they quickly realized how much of a scam modern society is. They decided they wanted nothing to do with it at all. The corporate rat race, the student loans, the soulless 9-to-5 meaningless jobs. So they decided to sell everything and invest it into their future home, Uma, a 36 by 12 foot sailboat. They spent a lot of time renovating it and equipping it with sustainable solar panels to make sure it becomes a full-on viable living space. Now, remember how we talked about how nearly all land is already owned, therefore presenting potential problems for the unemployment god of the land? The unemployment gods of the sea get around this issue through a very clever legal loophole. According to international law, countries only own the coastline up to 12 nautical miles away from the shore. Beyond that, however, you are officially in open international waters that no country or entity has any control over. So this means, so long as you have a boat to live on, you can stay there as long and as much as you want. No landlord charging ridiculous rent prices constantly breathing down your neck. No bosses constantly screaming at you about the next deadline. Just you, the wind, and the big, blue, beautiful sea. So, let's talk about the next big question I'm sure you're all wondering by now. How the hell do they survive living full-time on a boat? How do they get food, fresh water, and the power and electricity needed to run their YouTube channel? Let's start with the most obvious solution to the food problem: fishing. They're already living on a boat sailing across the sea, so catching fish is the easiest and simplest no-brainer here. Not much explanation is needed. But you can't just live off fish alone, obviously. So, what about the other foods you need to survive? Well, there are plenty of tropical islands you can sail to that have free, naturally growing fruits such as coconuts, mangoes, and bananas that you can forage. And once or twice a month, they dock in a cheap port and stock up on some cheap staples such as rice, beans, bread, and canned food. When it comes to getting enough fresh water, a simple tarp can be set up to collect rainwater, which is especially abundant out at sea with all the storms they get. There's also solar-powered desalinators that convert seawater to drinkable fresh water. Technically, you could live out at sea with no money at all. I mean, people literally did this for centuries in the past. But in the modern day, securing at least a bit of an income stream will make your life so much easier. And you don't need all that much. In the modern day, it's easier than ever to stay connected and work remotely, even at sea, with the advent of Starlink internet, which is how Ben and Kika are able to run their YouTube channel. This, by the way, is all powered by solar panels installed on the boat, and because most of your basic living expenses are already covered with the setup, you really don't need all that much money to survive and even be comfortable. In one of their Q&A videos, Ben and Kika said that they don't really worry about future finances or saving up for retirement because according to them, $500 a month is more than enough to be comfortable with this lifestyle. They also mentioned that you don't have to do YouTube to make money with this lifestyle either. You can do literally any sort of online freelance job. And if those are too saturated, there's another way you can monetize your boat lifestyle. In the same Q&A, they mentioned that in their journey, they met another couple who made a supplementary income purely off occasionally giving boat tours and massages through Airbnb. Now, if you're interested in trying this, it's important to understand that this lifestyle is not all sunshine and roses. You have to learn some seafaring skills as the oceans can be quite rough, and the last thing you want is to have some equipment malfunction in the middle of the sea with no idea how to fix it. The initial investment cost actually wasn't as much as I expected it to be. But it's not zero either, obviously. According to this source right here, you can get a seaworthy boat for even under $20,000. And it can be even cheaper if you learn how to make some of the renovations yourself. It's definitely way cheaper than 4 years of college tuition and all the BS subsequent student loan debts that come along with it. That's for sure. Hey guys, just wanted to say real quick, thank you guys so much for this incredible, rapidly growing community we're building here. And as you may have noticed, we're getting very, very close to 20,000 subscribers right now. So if you guys are new here and are enjoying this content, definitely consider subscribing and helping us get closer to this key milestone. Thanks a bunch. You guys are the best. Part 2, Dominoes. This is Lily Havesh, aka Havesh5 on YouTube, a professional domino artist. Yes, that's right, a domino artist who builds incredible pieces of art out of dominoes, only to eventually topple them. She's a really perfect example for the subject of this video, as even though she's technically an influencer and a YouTuber, a lot of Gen Z, 57% to be exact, want to be influencers of some sort. Delusional boomers and corporate shills love to use this to bash them in a snarky, narcissistic, "you kids need to get a real job, not everyone can be an influencer" kind of way. First of all, with how dogshit the traditional job market is, the exact same thing applies to normal 9-to-5 jobs now too. Not everyone can get a normal job at this point either. Havesh5, in my opinion, is the perfect example of an influencer who monetized her art doing something that's realistically attainable for a lot of people. For the first 6 years of her channel, she didn't even show her face or reveal her voice, just the work of her art. And in that time, she accumulated millions of views and subscribers, proving that you don't need some spectacular charisma, natural talent, or screen presence. That's just unattainable for most people. All she had was her art, her passion, and a ton of creativity. But Havesh5 wasn't some instant overnight random luck of the draw success. It took her a whole year just to get to 100 subs, 2 years to get to 1,000, and 3 to get to 20,000. Her breakthrough occurred when she realized the number one rule of YouTube that most new creators overlook. When you just start out, no one knows or cares about you. That's kind of just the way it is. So making these random generic titles about what you're doing or your daily vlog routine just isn't going to work out for most people in the beginning. So one day she realized this and decided to instead make domino art videos about famous celebrities, iconic movies and songs, relevant holidays or trending topics, which connected her passions to what people already knew and cared about. And this is when her channel absolutely took off. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I know a lot of you Zoomers out there want to be influencers, and I, as your millennial defense lawyer, want to help you achieve that dream in any way possible, so that you can also escape the 9-to-5. Spare me the whole, "but not everyone can be an influencer" speech. Number one, I already know this, and number two, this logic equally applies to normal quote-unquote real jobs now too, with how dogshit the job market is. I probably can't save everyone watching, but if I can help even just 1, 2, 5, 10, or 20 people, then by God, I'm going to do it. So consider this a free lesson from someone who's had a bit of YouTube success myself, for any of you considering escaping the 9-to-5 by becoming a YouTuber or influencer yourself. The way you can make your content stand out and be unique is by connecting your own passions and art to something people already know about and care about. For example, I'm currently working with one of my subscribers, QuayADM, on building his YouTube channel as well. One piece of advice I recently gave him was to make dubstep versions of well-known songs from already famous artists to get his name on the map. This doesn't mean his own music is bad. In fact, it's actually pretty great, and I've even used his soundtracks in a few of my own videos because I like them so much. But it just means since he just started out, people don't really know him or care about him yet. So the way to get past this initial hump is to just combine your art with popular and relevant material that people already know about and care about. By the way, subscribe to his channel, link in the description. But no matter how many times I reiterate this, I can still hear all the chatter in the comments. "Hey, not everyone can be an influencer." All right, fine, fair enough, guys. So for the next strategy you're about to see, I got something for you that quite literally anyone could do right now. Part 3, reverse freelancing. So, you've seen all the talk by now, I'm sure, of AI replacing your job, about employers and corporations replacing you with robots and AI because, well, of course they would. But what if you could turn the tables on them and replace them first instead? Well, this is what reverse freelancing is all about. When you initially set up a freelancing service on a site like Fiverr or Upwork, it can be really hard to get initial clients as you have no reputation, no reviews, and no momentum on your side. So, what if instead of presenting yourself as an up-and-coming individual, you instead present yourself as a professional team or agency capable of delivering better results faster? Only here's the catch. Your team members are just AI tools you've outsourced the labor to. So let's say you start a freelance service doing web design or copywriting. Instead of manually doing all the work yourself, you expedite the process to be much faster simply by telling ChatGPT to write the code or articles for you. Most of these employers are older boomers with money who have no clue how technology works, so they won't really be able to tell it's AI, and so long as the job gets done properly, they won't really even care anyways. Just to be sure you're doing this legally, have a few friends join in on this team/agency, so technically it is actually a team and there's nothing unethical or dishonest about what you're doing. You can also just simply say you're an agency with multiple people that uses AI tools to make the work process much more efficient. Hey, that's all technically true, right? Now, if you're wondering if I do this for my own YouTube channel, the answer is no. I've always written my own scripts from day one. In the early days of our YouTube channel, we used to use an AI voice, and those of you who've been around for a while, you all remember that. But we've stopped using it for months now, and if you listen carefully, you'll hear that this microphone quality isn't the best, and there are occasional static background noises that would never happen with AI. AI also can't laugh, clear its throat, or cough. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly address that because it's kind of funny to me how delusional boomers and corporate shills are so desperate to discredit me that they've actually resorted to accusing me of being an AI and not a real person. Why would I bother wasting time changing from one AI voice to another AI voice? And if you need further proof, you can check out some of the live streams I've done as well. As far as I know, AI isn't that advanced that it can live stream just yet. Okay, so there you have it. These are some of the most amazing ways Gen Z is figuring out how to escape the joke of a corporate rat race and quit working forever. Now, if you like this video, we covered 3 more incredible and creative ways young Zoomers are figuring out how to escape the BS-rigged 9-to-5 system in our previous video right here. Check it out. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.